Earth is full of incredible places, but some locations are so unusual that they look like they belong on another planet. From glowing underground caves to giant mirrors stretching beyond the horizon, these destinations challenge what we think is possible in nature. 5. Salar de Uyuni, Bolivia. Imagine standing in a place where the horizon completely vanishes. There are no trees, no mountains, and no landmarks to guide your eyes. Instead, there is only an endless white expanse stretching in every direction. This is Salar de Uyuni in Bolivia, the largest salt flat on Earth and one of the most surreal landscapes ever discovered. Covering more than 10,000 square kilometers, Salar de Uyuni was formed thousands of years ago when a giant prehistoric lake known as Lake Minchin gradually evaporated. As the water disappeared, it left behind an enormous crust of salt, creating a landscape unlike anything else on the planet. During the dry season, the salt flat resembles an endless frozen ocean. The ground is covered with geometric hexagonal patterns formed naturally by the expansion and contraction of salt crystals. Walking across this vast white desert feels almost like walking across the surface of another world. But the real magic begins when the rains arrive. A thin layer of water spreads across the flat surface, transforming it into the world's largest natural mirror. The reflection becomes so perfect that the sky appears beneath your feet. Clouds float both above and below you. The horizon disappears entirely, creating the illusion that you are suspended between heaven and earth. Because the surface is incredibly flat, scientists have even used Salar de Uyuni to calibrate satellites orbiting high above the planet. Its remarkable smoothness makes it one of the most accurate natural reference points on Earth. Beneath this beautiful landscape lies another treasure. The salt flats contain one of the world's largest reserves of lithium, an essential element used in rechargeable batteries that power smartphones, laptops, and electric vehicles. Yet despite its harsh conditions, life still finds a way to survive here. Every year, several species of flamingos migrate to the region, adding flashes of pink to the endless white landscape. Salar de Uyuni is more than just a natural wonder. It is a place that challenges your perception of reality itself. A place where the Earth becomes a mirror, where the horizon disappears, and where visitors often feel as though they have stepped into a dream. 4. Socotra Island, Yemen. Imagine arriving on an island so strange that it feels as though you've landed on another planet. Trees with umbrella-shaped tops rise from rocky plateaus. Massive bottle-shaped plants seem to grow directly out of the stone. Strange birds circle overhead, and the landscape looks unlike anywhere else on Earth. This is Socotra Island, one of the most isolated and biologically unique places on the planet. Located in the Arabian Sea between the Arabian Peninsula and East Africa, Socotra has been separated from mainland ecosystems for millions of years. During that time, plants and animals evolved independently, creating an extraordinary collection of life found nowhere else in the world. Scientists estimate that more than a third of the island's plant species are endemic, meaning they exist only here. The island's most famous resident is undoubtedly the dragon blood tree. These bizarre trees have thick trunks and dense canopies that resemble giant umbrellas turned upside down. Their unusual shape helps them capture moisture from fog and reduce water loss in the harsh climate. According to legend, the tree's deep red sap is the blood of dragons that once fought on the island. In reality, the resin has been used for centuries in medicine, dyes, varnishes, and traditional remedies. But the dragon blood tree is only one example of Socotra's strange vegetation. The island is also home to the desert rose, a plant with a swollen trunk that stores water like a natural reservoir. When it blooms, bright pink flowers emerge from what looks like a miniature tree growing out of a giant stone bottle. Socotra's landscapes are equally remarkable. Towering limestone mountains rise above coastal plains. Massive cave systems stretch for kilometers beneath the surface. White sand dunes merge directly into turquoise waters, creating scenery that feels almost unreal. What makes Socotra so fascinating is not just its beauty, but its rarity. In an age when almost every corner of the planet has been explored, Socotra still feels like a forgotten world. Walking among its alien-looking trees and untouched landscapes is perhaps the closest experience humans can have to visiting another planet without ever leaving Earth. 3. Lake Natron, Tanzania. At first glance, Lake Natron appears beautiful beyond belief. From above, its waters glow in shades of crimson, orange, pink, and deep red, creating a landscape that looks more like a painting than a real place. But behind this breathtaking beauty lies one of the most extreme environments on Earth. Lake Natron sits in northern Tanzania near the border with Kenya, in a region shaped by volcanic activity and intense heat. The lake receives minerals from surrounding volcanic rocks, making its waters incredibly alkaline. In some areas, temperatures can exceed 60 degrees Celsius, and the chemistry of the water is so harsh that most animals cannot survive prolonged exposure. The lake's extraordinary colors come from microorganisms known as halophiles, organisms specially adapted to live in highly salty conditions. These microorganisms produce pigments that turn the water into a spectacular display of reds and oranges visible from space. Lake Natron became famous worldwide after haunting photographs showed birds seemingly turned into stone. These images sparked myths that the lake could instantly petrify animals. While that's not actually true, the lake's chemistry can preserve the remains of animals that die there, creating eerie statuesque appearances that seem frozen in time. Yet despite its fearsome reputation, Lake Natron is one of the most important wildlife habitats in Africa. Every year, millions of lesser flamingos gather here to breed. In fact, this lake serves as the primary breeding site for most of the world's lesser flamingo population. This creates one of nature's greatest contradictions. A place that appears deadly and inhospitable is actually essential for sustaining millions of living creatures. The surrounding landscape only adds to the lake's surreal atmosphere. Nearby stands Ol Doinyo Langai, an active volcano considered sacred by the Maasai people. Together, the volcano, the colorful waters, and the massive flocks of flamingos create a scene unlike anything else on Earth. Lake Natron is proof that beauty and danger can exist side by side, creating one of the planet's most extraordinary ecosystems. 2. The Richat structure, Mauritania. Hidden deep within the Sahara Desert lies a geological formation so unusual that it has fascinated scientists, explorers, and conspiracy theorists for decades. Known as the Richat structure, or the Eye of the Sahara, this enormous circular feature is one of the most recognizable natural formations visible from space. The structure measures approximately 40 kilometers across. From ground level, it doesn't appear particularly impressive. Visitors see rocky ridges, cliffs, and desert terrain. But from above, the Richat structure reveals its astonishing shape, a series of giant concentric rings forming what looks like a gigantic eye staring up from the surface of Earth. For many years, scientists believed the formation was created by a meteorite impact. Its circular appearance seemed to support that theory. However, further research found no evidence of the shock patterns typically associated with impact craters. Today, geologists believe the Richat structure formed through a combination of uplift and erosion. Millions of years ago, layers of rock were pushed upward into a dome shape. Over time, wind, rain, and geological forces gradually eroded the softer layers, exposing the rings visible today. But scientific explanations haven't stopped speculation. Some researchers and enthusiasts have suggested that the Richat structure may match descriptions of Atlantis, the legendary lost civilization described by Plato more than 2,000 years ago. What makes the Eye of the Sahara especially remarkable is its visibility from space. Astronauts have used it as a navigation landmark because it stands out so clearly against the surrounding desert. The rocks within the Richat structure tell a story stretching back hundreds of millions of years. Ancient volcanic activity, shifting continents, and relentless erosion all played a role in shaping what we see today. Surrounded by one of the harshest environments on Earth, the Eye of the Sahara remains a symbol of nature's ability to create patterns and structures that seem almost impossible. 1. Waitomo Glowworm Caves, New Zealand. Beneath the green hills of New Zealand's North Island lies a hidden world that looks like a scene from a fantasy movie. Deep underground, thousands of tiny blue lights glow in the darkness, creating the illusion of a galaxy trapped inside a cave. This is the Waitomo Glowworm Caves, one of the most magical natural wonders on Earth. The story of these caves began more than 30 million years ago. At that time, much of the region was covered by an ancient ocean. Layers of marine limestone accumulated on the seabed and were eventually lifted above the water through geological processes. Over millions of years, rainwater slowly dissolved the limestone, carving tunnels, chambers, and underground rivers. The caves themselves are beautiful, filled with stalactites and stalagmites formed over countless centuries. But what truly makes Waitomo unique is the glowworms. Despite their name, glowworms are not actually worms. They are the larval stage of a small fly species found only in New Zealand. To survive, they have developed one of the most fascinating hunting strategies in the animal kingdom. Each glowworm produces a blue-green bioluminescent light through a chemical reaction inside its body. The light attracts insects flying through the darkness. Hanging beneath each glowworm are dozens of sticky silk threads, functioning like fishing lines. Drawn toward the glow, Insects become trapped in the threads and are quickly consumed. The result is breathtaking. Thousands of glowworms suspended from the cave ceiling create what appears to be a living night sky. Visitors often describe the experience as floating beneath the stars, except these stars are alive. One of the most memorable ways to explore Waitomo is by boat. In complete silence, visitors drift through underground rivers while thousands of glowing lights shimmer overhead. For the Maori people, the caves hold cultural significance and have been known for generations. Today, they remain one of New Zealand's most famous natural attractions, drawing visitors from around the world. What makes Waitomo special is not just its beauty but its sense of wonder. In an age when so much of the world has become familiar, these caves remind us that nature still possesses the power to amaze. Hidden beneath ordinary hills lies a glowing underground universe that feels completely detached from the world above. It is one of the rare places where reality seems more magical than fiction.